stimulus check update and stimulus package update live with my brother. And let's just say that we got demonetized and the video was taken down. And I was looking at the stats, and there were about 300,000 of you guys who missed out on the video, you missed out on the live. And, you know, I apologize if you have already seen it, but I wanted to make sure that we got it out to our community. So here we go. If you have not received your stimulus check, this guy may have stolen it from you. This is the stimulus package update.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
By the way, this is my brother.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Absolutely. Kevin Yates, we're back again with another live stimulus package update as well as daily news update.
Oh, we have a lot for you today. Stimulus update, Afghanistan evacuations, Hurricane Ida, investments, stock, gold, inflation. We're going to bring it all to you. Thanks, everybody, for being here again. And we have breaking news on more stimulus aid as well. More on a $12 billion stimulus update coming. So make sure you stick around. Later on in the live, we're going to touch on that. So make sure you don't miss that. But first, let's take an interview or take a look at an interview with President Joe Biden. He was interviewed by George Stephanopoulos on ABC regarding the Afghan evacuations.
Let's tune in.
Back in July, you said a Taliban takeover was highly unlikely. Was the intelligence wrong, or did you downplay it?
I think there was no consensus. If you go back and look at the intelligence reports, they said that it was more likely to be sometime by the end of the year.
You didn't put a timeline on when you said it was highly unlikely. You just said flat out it's highly unlikely the Taliban would take over.
Yeah. Well, the question was whether or not the idea that the Taliban would take over was premised on the notion that somehow the 300,000 troops we had trained and equipped was going to just collapse. They were going to give up. I don't think anybody anticipated that.
We've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens.
So what do you guys think about this? You know, was there a way for President Biden to essentially get U.S. troops out of Afghanistan without chaos ensuing? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Lots of mixed opinions on this one. Some people are saying that we should have stayed. And, you know, obviously since the pullout, what's happening with the Afghans that are still there that were allies to the U.S.? Things are going to get nasty. Things have gotten nasty. And, you know, obviously, you know, there's only so much that we're seeing. But, you know, I did see a clip earlier last week from a Navy SEAL who actually shared a little bit more than I'm going to share on this video. I want to kind of keep it PG, but what are you guys' thoughts on this? And also, do you guys have any relatives that were in Afghanistan or, you know, at any point in time during the war? I would love to hear from you guys. And I just want to say, you know, our you know, deepest respects and thanks for the support for our troops over there. And I know that we have a number of troops or a number of military servicemen that watch our show every single day. So I just want to say I just really appreciate the service that you've provided to our country.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, comment below. Let us know. We'd love to hear it.
Yep.
And speaking of comments, I also want to point out that we noticed that last live, there was some super chat.
Right.
And
good point.
Yeah, big thank you. And what we're using for our live stream, it doesn't show us the super chat. So we now have a setup where we can see when that happens. So big shout out to everybody who did the super chat.
And for those who did the super chat last time, I tried to make it up for you. In the very next video I released, I kind of showed a screenshot of those who did this.
Yeah.
So my bad for that. I really appreciate the love, you guys. And also for those of you guys who are trying to comment right now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you might not be able to comment. So if you want to comment, just subscribe to the channel,
Right.
and then you can comment.
Possible resignation for President Joe
I want
Biden.
to know if the White House has any reaction to the swath of Republican lawmakers who are now calling on the president to resign over this.
Well, Nancy, I have to say that seeing some of this occur or be called for or be put out on Twitter, the backdrop here is the U.S. men and women of the military deployed on the ground are bravely continuing to implement a mission to save lives on the ground. American citizens, Afghan partners, many people that some of these same individuals are calling for us to evacuate. Yesterday, they lost 13 of their own, and the president made absolutely clear that we're going to hunt down. Everyone should be supportive of that.
So there you have it.
Yeah. There you have it. But go ahead.
So there you have it, though. But recently, Trump actually heard on the Todd Starnes show, had something to say about the way that it was handled in the Taliban.
Yeah, he called in, and here's his response.
We had them, and I would have taken the equipment out. I would have taken the people out, and then we would have bombed every base but Bagram. We had to keep that because that's near China and Iran. So we were going to keep that for other purposes. I mean, they spent $10 billion building Bagram, and then they handed it out overnight. They give them the keys. I've never heard any. I have never seen stupidity like this. And they're trying to now, the narrative, Biden got out like he's brave. He got out like a man that was just fleeing for his life. This is the United States of America. All over the world, they're laughing at us because of the way. Withdrawal is fine, but you withdraw with dignity and with victory. We had victory. They weren't doing anything at all, Todd. We had victory. You didn't hear of one attack. Think of it, 18 months and not one soldier. Was because of me.
Liberal media for focusing on Hurricane Ida instead of having rational discussions about Afghanistan.
We have the people. They're not taking this. They are not taking what's happening in Afghanistan. And, if you looked last night, all they talked about was the hurricane. You look at CNN and you look at MSDNC, these are horrible. They're way down. Fortunately, they're way down in ratings. But all they want to talk about is the hurricane or anything else that they can talk about, because Afghanistan is not something that can even be discussed in a rational way. The level of stupidity.
I don't know, guys. It's really hard to say, what could have happened in hindsight. I mean, obviously it's easy to say what happened in hindsight, but it's like, okay, how do you predict an outcome like this? This is very complex. It almost kind of reminds me of, Trump's mention of media coverage. It kind of reminds me of the media coverage from 2017 regarding Hurricane Irma and how President Trump was.
Because he's saying here that the liberal media was more concerned with the current Hurricane Ida today than what's going on in Afghanistan and how President Joe Biden is handling it.
Agreed.
Look, everybody, there's no sides or opinions here, but it is easy to say after the fact that, that went wrong, or
right,
that was bad, or I could have done better, or I would have done differently, so that's a tough one.
It's kind of like that movie Butterfly Effect,
Oh shoot,
where or any time, comment below if you've ever seen Butterfly Effect or Back to the Future or any kind of time travel movie, and it's like, well, I would have did this. Now you would have done that. It's kind of like,
because you were in the future and you went back, so you knew better.
Yeah.
But the key is, what I want everybody to remember here, and I want everybody to pay close attention. This is very important. But the key is, if you do travel back in time, do not, and I repeat, do not come in encounter with yourself, because that's definitely the universe will implode on itself. So just don't do that.
Yeah.
We all know that. We all know that. But anyway, enough on that.
And Ghostbusters says never cross the stream.
Never
cross the stream.
Never cross the streams. But the Trump he does mention the liberal media and hurricane coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So a few years ago, Hurricane Irma. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if I could have did that.
I don't know. I was waiting for that car to flip over.
Yeah, homeboy was serious with it, and I guess he's like a storm chaser or something, or hurricane chaser, and he really wanted to get out there. Maybe he's got a device in his hand to measure the wind speed. It looks like.
I really couldn't tell what he was holding in his hand. Was it a phone? Like, I don't know if he's trying to get like a selfie video for TikTok.
Yes.
I don't know.
Only worth it if it goes viral.
Yeah.
But in comparison, these hurricanes, they bring crazy strong high winds, and you have brave people out there who are not only trying to help and save people's lives and restore power and utilities and evacuate, but you also have reporters out there bringing you this information.
That's true.
So we have a clip now from Hurricane Ida, which happened a few days ago. Check it out.
All the way up to the Mississippi line. All right, a couple things I want to point out because I lost the mic before. This power crew from Missouri, okay, they just got here from Missouri, and they're getting on staff. But remember I told you back around 6 p.m. local time, about an hour ago, we lost power here.
Sometimes these news people, they go a little overboard with the wind situation. And I think homeboy just called him out.
Yeah, exactly. They try to exaggerate how bad things are, and this guy's doing cartwheels in the back. I guess it's like, hey, anything goes, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It could be a mistake on your part, just somebody running behind you doing a cartwheel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you go ahead.
So, but also, this is probably now is probably a very, very good time to kind of like segue into gold. With all of the stimulus, the printing of stimulus checks, stimulus money, quantitative easing, and so raising Social Security wages to and basically tying it to inflation. We covered that a number of different times. We're waiting on that to happen. We're keeping you guys posted as in terms of how much forward momentum we're making with that. But what is the counterbalance to that? Many billionaires and millionaires have, over the years, the phrase, the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer. They're turning to gold. And it's like, how do you protect your family cash over the next several months?
No, that's years. Yeah, that. Check it out. Link in the description. I don't know if you put it in there before we started, but
I should have.
If not, there's a link in the description for the information here.
I will definitely drop a link in the description. That is Big Economic /reset. Get your free copy.
Oh yeah. Actually, because we put this up on the last live stream, so actually I'm kind of curious if anybody did get their copy. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I do know a lot of people actually downloaded it. I'd love to know how many people on the live right now have actually downloaded it.
Yeah, if you guys would, we would appreciate it. But I want to get into more stimulus on the way.
Yes. Oh, and did they hit the like button?
I hope so.
I mean, we got about 1,000 people in here.
It is. But we do have some good news in the form of stimulus aid, stimulus updates, and reports and packages coming through. I think, I can't remember whose channel I was watching, and they asked a question, and they repeated a question. It was like, is stimulus coming?
Right.
Or is it not coming at all?
Right.
And what his answer was no one really knows.
Right.
However, in this particular situation, we do have proof that, yes, it is coming. We do have proof that stimulus is on the way. And here's a clip from California Governor Gavin Newsom to tell you more about it.
Hey, everybody, it's Governor Gavin Newsom, and I'm incredibly proud of California's economic recovery, close to an $80 billion operating surplus, and that's afforded us an opportunity to do something no other state in U.S. history has ever done, and that's provide over $12 billion of tax rebates. We call it the Golden State Stimulus, and I want you all to know upwards of $1,100 if you have dependents, $600 if you do not. Those checks are going out later this week. Look out for checks either in your mailbox or directly in your account. The Golden State stimulus is on its way.
That's good news right there.
Yeah, that is pretty good. So, all right, checks are in the mailboxes. They're on the way. And for those of you guys who are receiving direct deposit, obviously you're going to get yours sooner. They just sent these payments out. Snail mail, you know how that works. You're going to wait a little bit longer for that. For those of you guys who are in California. Now, a number of you guys, I read the comments. We're engaging. We're in here having conversations. And I get the frustration that you guys are facing right now. It's kind of like, well, I don't live in California. I live in Georgia, or I live in Alabama, or I live in New York. What's going on with Texas, right? So North Carolina. So this is kind of what we saw before. $350 billion was allocated to states and local governments. And really, just like California and typically Florida was another state that did state stimulus. It's kind of like, these states, they can kind of call how to use the stimulus money that they got, and they decided to use their money for state stimulus.
Right. Because the state itself has a stimulus fund. And then if they decide to disperse it to its residents, it's a state-funded. It's a federally funded stimulus that the state then decides to use for its residents.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is there is at least 3 or 4 federal level stimulus check programs or stimulus check proposals that are actually on the table right now for Congress to deliberate on. We're really hoping that this $3.5 trillion stimulus package will include at least one of them, or at least at a minimum, a modified version of one of them. A lot of people could actually benefit from this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that benefit could not just be from the people. As far as Gavin Newsom in California goes, I think that this could actually probably help Gavin Newsom in maintaining his position, his seat as governor of California, by releasing the stimulus to California residents, especially with fellow YouTuber and previous stimulus check updater, Meet Kevin, is actually running against him to take his seat as the Democratic governor of California.
Now let's talk about that for just a minute, right? So comment down below if you guys follow Meet Kevin. Really cool guy. That guy, he is very resourceful.
Tons of knowledge.
Yeah.
Smart as hell.
Exactly. Yeah. Love his content personally. I've subscribed to him, by the way.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is about this situation here is here you have Governor Gavin Newsom of California. Let's look at what's happening here, right? Let's look at the big picture.
Okay.
What happened with the second stimulus check? There was not supposed to be one, right? And no one thought that there was going to be one. Then all of a sudden, toward the end of the year, right around December time, all of a sudden now there's talk about this second stimulus. Let's just throw it in this bill right quick, right? And so the Democrats were pushing hard for this at the end of the year. Remember when President Trump was in office, and there was, then all of a sudden, the Republicans, they were like, oh man, the Democrats are picking up steam, right? We need to, how do we compete with this?
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So here we go. You got Meet Kevin as a strong competitor to potentially outseat or oust Governor Gavin Newsom in that position. I wonder, is this a strategic move for the state to release state stimulus? And it's like, hey, because now, under Governor Gavin Newsom, he can say, hey, I gave you guys stimulus checks.
No, you're absolutely right. And, I think that part of this is going to come down to, the response from the people. At the time, you had a huge response from the people, especially as far as attendance at rallies and voter turnout and things like that. I think that, depending on how maybe there's a response from Meet Kevin's community,
right?
In the form of not only comments, but like the like button.
Oh yeah.
And getting his videos out there to make him more visible to so many more people. So if you guys feel like, hey, we may be in a similar situation, we need our voices heard.
Right.
We need the states to release their funds that they have from the stimulus relief that they received from the government, from the federal government, that they haven't used or allocated yet, hit that like button.
Yeah.
Hit the like button. Let's get these likes up. Let's get this video up, because this is our voice. It's everybody's
your voice, right?
Yeah, ours, yours, everybody's.
And it's like, I think that there's a lot of actually very good politicians out there.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good politicians out there, but it's kind of there's a strategy in order to get things pushed through, right? Because you can have the most amazing politician, from your state, the most amazing lawmaker from your state, but guess what? They can't make a law independently. They kind of have to, how do we get this law passed that we know is going to benefit the people, while gaining the support of our peers, because obviously within the Senate, within the House of Representatives, we need a certain number of votes. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom, he clearly recognizes the struggle that the people are facing.
Yeah.
So he said, and I don't know. I don't talk to Governor Gavin Newsom, but the way I see it is, he recognized, hey, the people of the state, they need some help, right? Federal government passed a few stimulus checks. I think that he's kind of like, hey, let's help a little bit more. We've had a surplus. Let me help out the people who are in greatest need.
Yeah.
And I think this could be the start of a new trend where additional states, other than just California and Florida, will see, hey, well, look at what happened here with California. They took their money and they helped the people. Maybe these other states do the same thing, because all these states got money.
Yeah,
they can create their own stimulus checks,
and it's like it benefits them in multiple ways, because if you do that, it's just back in the economy,
right?
Which then comes back to the state in the form of tax revenue,
right?
So and it also helps with reopening in this post time period. It's a struggle.
It is.
It's a struggle.
It is,
because everything that we were up against before, now more added on top of it. As far as Biden and some of the decisions he makes, things that he does, we just got FDA approval, but even still, that that's still rolling out, and it's a lot of pushback on different sides as far as actual businesses enforcing mandates and things like that. Not to mention, we're also facing inflation. We're facing inflation. We got a housing crisis, theoretically. On the brink as far as inventory for buyers, evictions for those coming out of forbearance, eviction for renters as these moratoriums are lifted. And I'm hearing stories that landlords are actually losing their homes because their tenants in their rental income properties haven't paid, ultimately just destroying them financially, forcing them to sell or be foreclosed on in their primary residence, and they still can't even get into their rental property and occupy that because the tenant's in there. So
it's a big mess.
Yeah, it's a big mess, but you add inflation on top of it. I think it's a great time for California and other states to maybe follow suit to release more into the economy, into the people's hands, to get this wheel going again.
Right. I mean, let's not even talk about the $46 billion that was allocated to rental assistance, and only 10% of it was even released. It's like, hold on, guys. Like, is anybody paying attention to what's going on here?
Not at all.
I mean, you figure, all right, what, 10%'s used, so that's what, $4.6 billion roughly. Then, so you got $40 billion left over. No one should be having to deal with evictions right now, with 90% of the funds still available.
And this is going to go back to that hindsight situation.
True.
Okay.
True.
So in hindsight, they should have offered a landlord protection scenario.
Right. And
just give the money to the landlords.
Yeah.
Just because you give it to the renters, there's nothing against the renters, but the renters just going to give it to the landlords.
Right.
So, hindsight, would they have even had a way of implementing this? I mean, this was unprecedented times of trying to organize and then disperse these funds that it's never happened before.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it's kind of like, you want to disperse the funds to those who need it. You don't want to make them delay, but at the same time, you can't make it too easy because you got scammers out
You
there.
got scammers out there, like you saw in the beginning of the video. He's just a scammer taking checks out of mailboxes, taking stimulus checks out of people's mailboxes, and he got busted for that. But at the same time, this was trying to be done when people weren't even really working from where they weren't working from their offices. So you got government employees, whether it's state or federal level, trying to get these processes done on a system that they never had from their home.
Exactly. Exactly.
Off of Zoom calls and Skypes and things like that. But
unbelievable.
But even Uber and Lyft.
Yep.
I'm talking about inflation.
Okay.
Get California, Gavin Newsom, get the money out. The people need it. But inflation is everywhere. And Uber and Lyft's prices are up almost 100%.
That is crazy.
These two popular rideshare companies' prices have climbed almost 100% since the beginning of the.
You know what? Let's do a quick survey here, guys. Whoever's watching right now, are you driving for Uber or Lyft? Have either of you, or have any of you ridden in an Uber or Lyft since the started? I'd love to hear about that one.
So comment, let us know. Do you drive? Have you, do you drive? Have you driven? Have you used it? I'm going to play this clip. And I got another question for you after the clip, so hang on.
If you've taken an Uber or Lyft recently, have you noticed anything different?
Prices. There seems to be a bit of a shortage of drivers.
Right.
And the prices are exorbitant.
The cost of a ride from a ride-sharing app like Uber or Lyft increased 92% between January of 2018 and July of 2021. Many riders also noticed increased wait times for rides. So what's behind this change?
To us, the big issue is just that the driver supply remains fairly constrained.
In early July 2021, Uber and Lyft drivers were about 40% below capacity. The companies have taken notice and are investing millions worth of bonuses and base rates to convince drivers to return.
While the companies have been spending a ton of money to incentivize drivers to get back on the platform, you talk to a lot of drivers that say it's not really trickling through.
Uber is still considered an unprofitable company, and Lyft just recently reached the status of profitable when considering its adjusted EBITDA. Profitability was a problem for these companies even before calling into question the effectiveness of their business models.
It's hard to see how these companies become profitable, but the CEOs have promised that they would reach that measure, adjusted EBITDA profitability, within the next few quarters, and Lyft actually did achieve that.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So, like I said, the money pumped back into the people's hands, the economy, could help these situations, because obviously if you don't have it, you're not going anywhere. But my question is, if you did drive for Uber or did you drive for Lyft, they're saying that they're down 40%. Did you stop driving? And if you did stop driving, for what reason?
Yeah.
They're saying to pour money into these companies, into these apps, and you would think that they would reach the drivers. But is that true or not? Because if that were the case, why would it be down 40%?
Exactly. Now, another angle I was kind of thinking was, I haven't ridden in an Uber or a Lyft since the started, so I don't really know what the rates are. But according to the video we just watched, they're up double, right?
Yeah,
nearly 100%. So my question would be, since the structure of Uber and Lyft is based on the ride fare, if the price has doubled, does that mean that for those who are still driving for Uber and Lyft, they are making twice as much money?
You would think.
Guys, I got to leverage you guys. Who out there is driving for Uber or Lyft who can actually comment on this? What does your income look like now per, are you making more money per ride now, or what does it look like?
Yeah, with these prices going up, are you guys seeing it? Is it passing through to the drivers?
Because, what is this? So they're down, the company's down for 40%? The company's down 40%.
In drivers.
Yeah. So I would think, okay, if they're down in drivers 40%, those who are still there, they're taking up the share of whatever market still needs rides.
Yeah, but with that being said, then they would theoretically be able to pick up volume.
And they're saying that the wait times are long, so that tells me that there's more demand than there are drivers. So honestly, hey, if you're not driving for Uber or Lyft, now might not be a bad time.
No, probably not. Yeah, so you got a mask on, the passengers wear it.
I might even put a plastic thing up in my
Yeah,
car.
put some saran wrap on the back. But it's like that may not necessarily be a bad idea because if drivers are down and rates are up,
right,
then you could jump out there and clean up.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen on different forums and whatnot. Some people are clearing $500 a day.
Yeah,
because some depends on the city, depends on the day, but it also depends on whether or not you know your route. Because there are some routes that are known to just pay more. Like, I mean, I'd love to just have somebody hop in the back seat, make a quick $100, and just driving a straight route, and
and then back and forth.
Right.
But I do have a question for you.
Talk to me.
Which is, how will these new higher prices for these rideshare platforms like Uber and Lyft, how will these, as a result of inflation, how will these affect stock prices for the shareholders?
Well, I mean, so the income that the Uber and Lyft drivers are making is, as long as they haven't changed the terms, the companies really haven't changed the terms, in terms of the commissions that they're going to make per ride, the drivers could make more or less. But if the company has, revenues that are down, then, I wouldn't expect to see too much of a upward trend on that. However, of course, since most stock investors are not too concerned with today, they're more or less concerned with what's happening in the future, because everything is future based on when it comes to the stock market for the most part. Obviously there's they take into consideration what's happening present day, but it's all about what's coming down the line, which is why when earnings dates are released, stocks tend to go crazy just before the release of earnings, because once the earning report comes out, it shows, hey, what the company did, and generally the CEO lets you know what to expect in the future. So that's my take on it. Of course, guys, this is not investment advice. It's purely for entertainment purposes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But make sure you jump on Robinhood.
Absolutely. Jump on Robinhood. Look at that. Uber sitting at $40.61 a share right now. I don't know if you guys can see this very clearly on the screen here.
Sorry, we didn't plug in the iPad today.
Yeah, that iPad we were using last time, it started making some interference.
Yeah.
So, but it looks like, so if we look at Uber right now, we're sitting at $40.61 today. It's actually up $1.48. So that's a 3.78% increase for the day. Shout out to Linnea Hansen. I see you in here, loving sponsor of Ron. I appreciate the comment. Actually, I think this is a super chat. So thank you very much. So if we look at Uber for the last 3 months, it looks like Uber's actually down 21%. And for the year, actually Uber is still, let's see, for the year, Uber's up 21% for the past 365 days. So, but if you look at the last 3 months, it's kind of like, okay, the stock is down 21%. So what does that mean? Me personally, if a good company is down 21%,
time to buy.
It could be time to buy if you think that there's a positive future for the company. It's kind of like, what is this? Samsung S20. Let's just say you walk into the phone store and you're looking to buy an iPhone, right? So you see, you can trust an iPhone. Great quality phones are amazing. Let's just say normally it's $1,200, right? But today you walk in the store, it's like $799.
Mm-hmm.
Is it any less good of a phone? I mean, I would argue that it isn't. So if the phone is just as good, it's at $799 versus the normal $1,200, I'm buying it. And so I feel like, hey, if I believe in a company and the price happens to be down, that means it's on sale. Obviously this is not investment advice, but this is just the way I look at it.
We got time for comments.
Got time for comments? These comments are blowing up.
Hey,
Let's see here.
yeah, and thanks. Big shout out to everybody who's engaged in the comments. We really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I want to say thank you
because
after the last live, I was getting notifications, like unbelievable amounts of notifications that you guys were using the links. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I just noticed that they changed the method of which they give you free stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was before, like a week ago, was they would just surprise you with a random stock. You pick from 3 different cards and you figure out which stock you got.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are giving you a set amount of money for your free stock. And you get to pick from a list of like 15 stocks. And the stocks are Apple, Disney, Google, Amazon, GM, Tesla, all really, Carnival, I think, is on there.
Mm-hmm.
All really good stock options. Like a lot of the other ones they were giving out were companies that I'm not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was actually HP that we realized. But in this one, you get a set amount of money. They give you money, and you get to pick which one you want. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like, especially when you're new to investing, it's kind of like, hey, I'm new to investing. I want to at least buy a company that I've heard of, right? That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That they give you the liberty of choosing what you want to invest their money that they've given you just for signing up. So that's pretty cool.
So, Apple was like 3,000 or something. Some crazy amount on their stock price was like, hey, I'm going to buy a piece.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any on my Robinhood account. So I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I'm going to go get a piece of that apple.
That's right. I'm really surprised. I'm really positively surprised at just how many people from our community have been signing up for Robinhood. Absolutely.
But we're gonna hit comments, or we gotta go.
Let's get a couple comments.
All right, go for it.
Cool. So let's try to make my way back. Raheem Wilson, he said, "I don't drive, but I have been in an Uber." Okay, cool. Let's see who else we got in here. Joseph Quinocho, he says, "Is that Robinhood?" This might be a late question that I'm seeing. Lisa understood what I was talking about in terms of the stocks being discounted and how a discounted stock price, like if a stock is down, it might actually be a good thing, a good opportunity to buy. Depends on the company, depends on the research that you've done to know if it's a good fit for you as an investment, if it's a good price to get the company at. Because me personally, I'm a long-term investor. I'm looking at, where's this company going to be in 5 years? Company, things hiccup here and there, right? There's always some kind of hiccup, maybe some slowed sales temporarily and stuff like that. But long term, it's kind of like 5 years from now, do you think that this company is going to be better off or worse off than it is today? Based on that and other factors, then I make my decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else is in here. Okay, who is this? Oh, dang it. The comments keep moving. Let's see. Trump made 2 checks happen. Yeah, you're right, Melissa. Trump did make a couple of checks happen. I hear you, man. Lately, especially, starting from July, with all the CTCs, the child tax credits,
right?
A lot of the parents have been, blessed with additional monthly recurring, it's a form of stimulus. So stimulus checks monthly for these parents, but it's kind of like, hey, it's not just the parents that need the help. There are plenty of single people who have been left out of this additional financial aid from the government. And so, again, why we need stimulus checks for?
We do. We need a lot of stimulus, okay? We need a lot.
And I get the added stimulus will have an impact on inflation.
Yes.
I'm well aware of that.
But we also don't want a shutdown. We don't want a deflation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a topic for another video, another live.
Okay.
But businesses need them too.
Oh, man.
And businesses had the PPP for the paycheck protection and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like a little, that is nowhere near the amount that is needed for businesses, because what we're facing right now in business is a huge shortage in supply and a huge demand for growth and like this infrastructure package. It can't happen because we can't get the materials.
Right.
But the businesses that will do it, they need help in the interim because there's nothing that they can do while they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs waiting on product to show up.
Meanwhile, these businesses' bills are still due, just like a individual's bills would still be due if they weren't working.
The businesses' bills are still due, and the businesses still employ employees that if the business is closed and the employees go, and then we have this unemployment problem, and it's just a massive
domino
effect. It's a huge domino effect, but this massive just implosion that, it's like the government needs to really pay attention and step up because assistance is needed for people and businesses in this time as we're trying to make this recovery.
That's right.
And I see it in construction. I see it in all phases and all elements from, below grade, digging dirt, getting foundations poured, to the steel, to the carpenters and the framers, all the way up to the roof.
Right.
And electricians, plumbers, painters, everything in between, they're all struggling not only with the workforce aspect, but getting the material aspect, inflation and price and material price escalations and increases, in addition to the delays. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. So this stimulus, but the government really needs to pay attention. Congress, President Biden needs to pay attention because the businesses need it probably more.
Right.
Because the businesses keep the people going, and the people keep the businesses going at that. So, but if you have mass layoffs or no layoffs, but it's like, don't come into work for the next week or so because we don't have anything to sell. Don't come into work because we don't have anything to build this building. It's not a layoff. It's just you're not going to get any hours. Like, this is a problem.
Right.
This is a growing problem. We saw it initially with lumber and some lumber shortages when it started and people were building decks and things like that, but that's kind of settled down. But there's a lot of components out there, a lot of raw materials that go into a lot of behind the scenes building that most people don't see, the news doesn't cover, that is lacking. And if it is there, by the time it gets there, has increased in cost by sometimes 200%. So imagine trying to build something and then having your costs increase by 200%. Like, can you still build it?
Right. And certainly, can you build it and still be profitable, especially when your margins aren't 200% margins? It's like you're almost paying to do a job. Imagine going to work and instead of getting a paycheck, you got a bill.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. And then, these companies, they have to make a choice. Do I do that? Because some of them may be in a position, it's like, you know what? We could do this job with the increasing costs, but we won't make any money, or maybe we'll lose a little bit, but we can do that, and but how many times are they going to do that?
Right.
How many times can they do that?
Right.
The government needs to really pay attention, and stimulus is needed for the people and for the businesses.
That's right.
I'll let you lead the outro.
So anyway, guys, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this live. It was a pleasure to bring you guys the news as always. I can't thank you guys enough for subscribing to the channel, for always hitting the like button. I've got, some diehards in here. Many of you guys have been hanging out since day one, and I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate you guys showing love to my brother Kevin Yates here. Comment down below, if the time of the lives works for you guys. We've been doing it 7:30 Eastern for the last couple weeks. I've been enjoying it.
Oh yeah, me too. It's a lot of fun.
So yeah, let us know if the time works. Comment down below if you prefer a different time. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure your notification bell is turned on.
You subscribe to the channel. That way you can comment. And I just had a question. Would you prefer a live where we did more engagement in the comments, or maybe like a answering past comments or an ask me anything, or do you prefer when we just bring you loads of information?
Yeah. I'd love to get that feedback from you. We just want to make sure you guys are happy with what we're delivering to you.
Don't forget download your gold newsletter.
That's right. bigeconomicalerts.com/reset. Yep, get it.
That's in the description.
Yep, I just added
the
it.
link is in the description.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to leave you with parting words from President Joe Biden. And take care. Be safe. See you guys on the next one.